Hello, my name is Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and this is going to be my first attempt, actually my practice attempt at bringing you a video analysis of the matches from Worlds. My first game I'll be doing Kabum versus Alliance, the second match. This is one of my favorite from the Worlds, so I'm going to enjoy using it as a practice run. Throughout the match, I'll just be playing the video in the background, and I myself will be talking mostly about analysis portions. This is not going to be a shoutcast. It's going to assume that you've already know what the outcome of is the match and you've seen it. I'll be doing my best to talk about team compositions as well as overall strategy played through the game, where teams have made mistakes and where they really need to capitalize and sort of circumvent the other team. I'll also be talking about individual lane matchups, and please bear with me as this is my first attempt at this. So without further ado, let's go through the pick and ban phases. Right, pick and ban phases. We have Lee Sin banned out as Shook last match the day before this did absolutely amazing on him. We also have a pretty generic Zillion and Syndra and Alistar ban, Syndra being one of Timon's best champions, and the other two just being very standard bans throughout all of Worlds. We have a Aurelia ban, which is targeted against Wicked as it is his strongest champion and has been for years, honestly. And Maokai, another big generic ban, with sort of the Aurelia Maokai Rumble banned out. Kabum Esports pick up Rise as being the top trifecta. The top trifecta for Worlds really being Maokai Rumble and Rise, but Wicked is not known to play Rumble, so the Maokai ban allows them to first pick Rise and pretty much take the strongest pick in the top lane. Alliance then very quickly grab Thresh and Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix being the top, if one of the top, if not the top jungler throughout all of Worlds, him, Lee Sin, and Rengar really being the top three picks. Thresh also having great effect throughout all of Worlds, being one of the best support champions at safety and picks. Just there's no bad situation for Thresh in all of the game at this point in time. On Kabum's side, the second picks, we have Elise and Ahri. I really like the fact that they picked up Ahri because of the Elise pick. I'm not fond of Elise as a jungler throughout Worlds unless there's the condition that she's brought into the team when her team already has tons of CC. Her biggest strength is helping her team lock down, and by having more lockdown in your lanes, it allows you to essentially remove one champion from the other team before a fight even starts. And during the fight, they're just stuck. Snare, Charm, Cocoon, we'll see Morgana being picked up in Jinx. There's essentially about 12 to 15 seconds of lockdown or snares coming onto Kabum's team. When Elise has been picked in other teams, sometimes she's picked as the only one on her team with CC, and the Cocoon just isn't enough. If there's no follow-up, she's just not good. Looking over into the Alliance side, we see Kayle and Twitch. Kayle and Twitch are a very strong combo in and of themselves. You have Twitch run in with Kayle speed and get intervention as he's unloading on the enemy team. It's very strong. We've seen the Korean teams do this a lot, and they pull it off to great success. It does require a high amount of coordination and positioning. If Twitch is out of position and too far away from Kayle, then he can easily get charmed and blown up by this Kabum team. We see Jinx being picked up, and Kabum are pretty much the only team running Jinx in all of Worlds, but she works really great in this team composition, especially now that we have Morgana with her as well. This gives us 3 snares, a stun, and a charm. Huge amount of CC pick potential. Every champion can offer something, so there's follow-up across the board. When the game gets into the match, I'll start talking about Kabum's team in particular, instead of just going through the pick and bans team. And we'll see. This is why this is one of my favorite games, because Kabum is definitely the underdog. They're the weaker individual players. However, through team composition and strategy in game, we see how important picks and how you play those picks in the game work out. This last pick coming in for Alliance, we know Froggen ends up picking Fizz. However, this is a really bad choice in this match. We already have 2 targets for Kale, Kha'Zix and Twitch. Adding in a third target really kind of hampers this whole situation, meaning 2 of 3 are not going to be safe. On top of this, Fizz is a high mobility champion and he relies on it in fights. And against Kabum's team, there's really no chance for his mobility to work. Ryze hits him with a snare, you get followed up by a charm, a binding, Jinx snare, cocoon. There's so much stuff just to lock him down and keep him stuck. And Fizz, if he's snared, can't do anything because it stops his pull hop, it stops his Q. The only thing he can do outside of it is throw his fish. And we'll see this come into play throughout this match. I really would have loved to see Froggen pick up some sort of wave clear. Orianna would have been great, offering extra move speed for Twitch for the stealth assassinations, and providing some crowd control, as well as protection for the team. Currently, their team only has 1 form of hard CC, and that's Thresh landing a hook. Fizz knockup does kind of count, but it's very, very short, so it's not too great. They do have several slows, so they have chase potential. The problem is they really have no catch. They have no way to lock somebody down. Fizz goes in, gets a bunch of damage. You get Ryze, snares, cocoons. That target backs off, and they're forced to turn on another one. This also really hurts as Fizz has to go in first, get his burst off, get that Chum the Waters to hit, and then Kha'Zix has to follow up. Once again, Kha'Zix jumps in as well. They're just jumping into a wall of stop. It just doesn't work out very well. But if Froggen had instead chosen Orianna, even Lissandra could have done well for wave clear, but Ziggs would have been great. Jace, Xerath, something who can keep wave clear going for their team, just in case they get behind, or someone who doesn't need to go in and get Kale's shield. As of this moment, that's all Alliance have. Alliance have go in. So to talk about Alliance's team, first of all, their team comp is very much find a pick, get the fight, chase. There's a lot of reliance here on Fizz since he was picked, and it's unfortunate because he's sort of stealing Kale's intervention from Twitch. And Twitch Kale is really strong combination, and they really need to open up with that. That's really their only form of engage. So the strong points in Alliance's team is they have Fizz to split push, so he really needs to get up on that quickly. Grabbing a quick Lich Bane as being one of his core items anyways, and just never leaving a side lane is probably going to be his best bet. He'll get those 1v1 duels. He's definitely the strongest one in the game for dueling until Ryze reaches his 5 item stage, but then Fizz is also super strong at that stage, and it becomes more of a outplay situation. And as we know, Alliance are the better individual players. As for Kale, the rest of the team, Shook is really going to have to be doing the wave flare, and he's going to have a real bad time of it. That's all he's the only one. Wicked can try and get in some, but it's going to be hard. They really need to use Fizz to pull apart Kabum and have Twitch top. Say Twitch top, Fizz bottom, do a double split push. Use Wicked's TP to go to places where he needs to show up if somebody gets dove, 2v1, caught. Alliance sort of have to avoid Kabum's team. They don't stand a very strong chance fighting them straight up. and they don't have much ability to stop them at a tower. So switching over to Kabum's team. For Kabum's team, we have mass catch potential, mass CC. There's so many snares and cocoons. Elise lands a cocoon. You can follow up with Dark Binding, follow up with a Charm, follow up with Rise Snare. Jinx can throw down her Chompers, and that's even another snare. We'll actually see this come into play later, especially against Zhonya's, which is probably something that Froggen was not thinking about. You use Zhonya's, Jinx throws down her Chompers, instant snare when you come out. Shuts down Fizz again. It's just, he's going to have a rough time with targeted snares and just the long durations that they last. One of my favorite things with Elise is great at tower pushing. She's great at fast pushing. She works extremely well in teams that have CC, as here we see her coming in. As mentioned by the casters, Lep does a great job opening up with the snare, giving Elise enough time to get in. She does miss her cocoon, evidence of the individual skill, but she did the right planning and flash Q, forced Wicked to flash, seeing the cocoon was coming in, and then she had an easy lineup, but missed. Luckily, it was unnecessary, they got the kill. But going back to the point with Elise and tower pushing, they have a 5 range team, which means they get in a tower, they can all whittle it down. One hit, one hit, one hit. And then with all the potential to run away with the snares and stuns and cocoons and whatnot. Also, if left alone, Elise with her spiraling deals tons of damage to towers, takes them out very fast. So, as Kabum went top, they were actually looking for the fast push. They didn't get it, Alliance read them and got into the 2v2. If this had been a fast push, we could have easily seen Morgana Jinx pushing really hard, Elise coming up, taking down the tower really fast. This would be great, because that's what Kabum's team is really strong at. They're great at sieging, they're great at fast pushing, and they're great at locking somebody down. This goes amazingly well against Alliance's team, as Alliance's team has no forms of wave clear. Kabum can get to a tower, constantly poke, whittle it down. They don't even have to try and force it, they just have to take it slowly. One hit here, one hit there, and eventually they will take the tower without Alliance being able to do anything about it. So this is also why I like Jinx in this combination, because of how good she is at the fast push if they had gone it, and how good she is at taking down towers regardless. She hits level 9, she gets her max range, and she just, one rocket at a time is all you need. 1, 2, whatever you can get, just don't get caught, take the hits, back out. Just everything goes great with this team in terms of sieging. 5, like the 5 range, the 5 CCs, they have so much ability to just push, and that's the game they want to play. And Alliance have done nothing to stop this. There's, like I said, there's no long range, there's no wave clear. Alliance have to go in, they have to dive into a wall of CC and snares. Here we see at Thresh, he got caught out. He was, actually, I'm not entirely sure, he didn't have wards. Maybe he was going down to place a trinket or look for a gank onto mid. However, he was trying to time it with Fizz 6, but Ahri got 6 first, so it ended up getting him screwed over. Unfortunate that Elise was there going to put down a ping just to catch him out. Talking a little bit about some of the lane matchups real quick. I really love this Rise pick, and as first pick he actually got really lucky because his items are going to pull double, even triple duty in this match. I'll do it after this. This is really good. See, snare to cocoon, but Jinx was there late. If she had gone in earlier, she could have got that 3rd CC, would have killed Thresh, Elise would have gotten out. So there was a bit of mistime there, and unfortunately it ends up giving the trade to Alliance. But we can see the power, just catch them off guard, 1, 2, 3, and they're done. Going back to the Rise pick, Rise naturally builds Frozen Heart, and then either Spirit Visage or Banshee's Veil. This is really great in this matchup because Spirit Visage or Banshee's Veil is going to get double duty on the magic resist against Fizz, against Kayle. But then the Frozen Heart, he's going to get the double duty on the attack speed against Kale and against Twitch. So for him, he really gets a great opportunity. And as we see later, he goes Banshee's Veil. Banshee's Veil is much better than Spirit of Exologist in this situation because he really only needs to block one of two spells. Fizz Ultimate, Thresh Hook. It's all that needs to be stopped from Alliance's team. So a Banshee's Veil for any champion is going to be great. Right, here we see this is a little bit lucky for Danacorn. Elise is pretty safe against Kha'Zix because of the lack of isolation damage. So otherwise, Kha'Zix would have got that kill earlier and been able to get out. Very nice of Jinx to be able to pick up a kill in that situation. Good job, Minerva, salvaging a bad situation. In the Ryze vs. Kale matchup, here we see Ryze bullying Kale. Very easy for Ryze to do. Go in, get his combo, walk out. Kale has to have his sustained damage, and he really never can do that against Ryze. So he's always at a disadvantage unless he can get ahead and get his Nashor's Tooth early and then move into either what he builds as Lichbane or Death Cap. He really can't fight Ryze even-toed until about level maybe 9 to 11. He is safe though with his speed boost, he just has to deal with getting bullied. In the mid, Ahri vs. Fizz. Once again, I don't like the Fizz pick because Fizz gets countered by Ahri, and he knew what he was picking into. Well-timed charms, as was seen earlier in the game, can easily stop Fizz's aggression, even return more damage, and later on when Fizz gets 6, while Chum the Waters does slow, she can ultimate out of it and just leave. Here we actually see, while we haven't gone to the 5v5s yet, we see Alliance doing good rotations. They're coming back, they're getting the more individual skill. Here they split up, they got 2 kills, and that was for 1 on the dive. They really knew how to come and capitalize on it. It was after Wicked had gone back with low HP. He should have just backed off when his ultimate was down, backed off when he didn't know Ahri was there. One big thing to note on this match, look at the wards you can see in this replay. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 wards down the river for Kabum. 5th one up in the top lane bush. Alliance only had 1 ward out at the time, and the lack of vision allowed Ahri to get into position to dive Kale and kill him. The fact that Alliance are keeping up right now is testament to that they're better skilled players. They were down 2-0, they turned it around, and they came back, and now they're 5-4. But they did a good job. They capitalized on positional mistakes by Kabum. They outplayed them in some dives. They've done well. Here we see Froggen going against Ryze, and here we're going to see how Ryze fights against Fizz. And this is really going in Fizz's favor because Ryze alone only has the 1 snare. Fizz is able to defeat him. You know, we see the power of the 1v1. Fizz needs to do this all game long. He didn't even use his ultimate. Now, Froggen should this is the point. Froggen has his Sheen. He just needs to stick by himself and split push. The moment he gets into these team fights, we'll see him getting really picked on. But see, right here, he can go for this bottom tower. Kabum just took mid, they took top. Kha'Zix is already middle. There's no point for Fizz to be going up here. He could be damaging this bot tower, get his team some gold. Kabum have already taken out 2 major objectives. They took out the top, which allows them to focus on bottom where Dragon is, and they took out the middle, which is really the last tower you really want to go down. And here we see Chum the Waters hits, you get the pick, but gets away. Tabs was also late on that cask. He should have done it as an opener, and maybe that would have been enough to kill her. But however, we do see the strength of Ahri being able to escape even when Fizz lands his full combo. With that down, with Fizz hurt, with Kale up top with no TP, because they saw him TP top, they easily take Dragon. This is great. Kabum's team is highly objective focused, they're great at the 5v5, and so here they start to group up. There's no chance for Alliance, they get it, they extend their gold lead. So now they're up 2 towers and a dragon, and that's a good 2,000 gold, about. Sorry, just guessing the numbers off my head. And now we see Jinx is on bottom. So all that's left for Alliance is this bot turret. Fizz is already in his roaming phase. Twitch is taking care of the middle with it down, and Kale is stuck dealing with Ryze. This will leave Kabum the ability to 3-man or even 4-man bottom lane if they chose. Which really is the point that Fizz doesn't want to deal with. So, Kabum with the one target, the one objective target, will go for it, and Alliance just kind of give it up, honestly. So while we wait for this, in the Morgana Jinx matchup against Twitch Thresh, it's a pretty even one. There's no real strength or weakness for either side. Morgana just stops Thresh hooks, and that's it. Neither Twitch nor Jinx have very good aggression against each other. The best chance for Alliance would have been to go for a level 1 attack when Jinx has no skills, essentially. She picks up the rockets and that it. If they can get a good flay onto Morgana or Jinx, then they can use Twitch and get the kill. We do see Alliance focus top onto the kill, while Kabum go for the turret on bottom. This is actually a really big mistake. Alliance should have put their duo bottom and focused on it. Maybe even dedicating 3 people to it with Kha'Zix, or sending Kale down and letting Kha'Zix take another lane, because Kabum now have all the outer turrets. This is the end of the laning phase. If they had kept that bottom turret up longer, they could have extended the laning phase, allowing Fizz to get a little bit more gold, allowing all of Alliance to get a little bit more gold before we move into this siege situation. With all the outer turrets down, with Alliance having none, Kabum are in extreme control, especially with their team comp. All we need to do at this point, Kabum, is them to group up as 4 or 5 and push. Ryze can split push if his TP is up, which it's not, so it's a bit dangerous because Kabum will be running into a 4v5 if they decide to leave him split push. So the best decision Kabum can make, just group as 5 and push. Let Froggen do his own thing at the moment. You don't really have anyone who can fight him. He has his Lich Bane. Nobody has magic resist yet. Let him go. And that's what they do. There they go, they group as 5, and here's their great siege team. Here's where you see it just shine. They have everyone can attack the tower from a range. Alliance can't stop them without any wave clear, and if Alliance try and go in, what are they going to do? So, 1545, Froggen leaves the bottom lane. This tower, he could have been attacking this tower all by himself with no worry. And he just lets it go, and now he goes, I think he does blue, he goes and he does wolves. And this whole time Kabum is just whittling down this tower. You know, they've already got it to half, and Froggen, he's just doing wolves. He could be taking this extra wave, he could be taking out bottom turret, pushing into the tier 2, something. It's going to take Kabum at least a little bit of time to get through this. Kale goes top, and that's essentially the signal we gave of this tower. Fizz is nowhere near the turret, he can't defend, it goes back. Great flash cocoon, followed up by a snare, followed up by a charm, and it's a dead Thresh. Now the problem here is, Minerva is attacking the tower with Gatling gun. While it does kill it fast, as we can see, her team backed out, she was up front, fish, boom. Just essentially the wipe team fight. If she had been shooting with rockets, she could have been farther behind her team, still hit the turret, and then backed out. Kabum had no need to rush. They just needed to take it slow. They had killed Kha'Zix, or not Kha'Zix, they had killed Thresh. The pick potential of Alliance was gone except for Fish Fits. And here, see, watch. Back, bam. And then here we get great play by Alliance. They go and they outplay. Froggen backs out, coming back, waiting back for his mobility cooldowns. And then he just dodges with Kabum splitting, rises out of position for the snare. Alliance outplay Kabum on an individual level. and they'll continue to do so throughout the game. But this game is not about individual skill, actually. It's about the team compositions. And Kabum have the team composition to win. All they have to do is keep pushing. Last time they got a turret and a kill, they got some damage. They went 2 for 3, got another turret. Pretty decent. Dragon's coming up, they're preparing. Kabum are planning to stick as 5, and they keep grouping up and they keep pushing. They never stop in this match, which is exactly what they need to do. They're only going to lose this match if Alliance get too big a lead or the game goes too long and Fizz reaches hyper carry status, as well as Kale getting super strong. Even then, it's not guaranteed, but Alliance have to reach that point. Kabum will never let them, though. They are already in position for this dragon, getting ready. They have all the ability for picks. Froggen goes in, and snare. You know, he pull hopped into a Q, went way farther away than Kale, but we saw he just got instantly stopped. He goes in, Rise hits his snare right away. People back away. Morgana hits the binding. Jinx throws down her chompers. And Fizz is done. He's just shut down. It doesn't matter what... Even if there was an intervention, it would have bought them some time. It was a bad play by Froggen. Especially because there's no way for him to escape when he goes in. This gives Kabum the dragon, and then they go start and push bottom. Once again, they don't really have to do anything. We see Minerva up here using the minigun. She's a bit safer because we know Thresh is back in Fizz. So now they get out. Danagorn goes in. A little too bit of a miscommunication with the team. And then Minerva tries to save him using chompers. And it just goes bad. Bad individual play. They had the objective. They needed to back off. Once again, Alliance come. They clean up the fight. But they lost the turret. They lost the turret again. They've lost even more map pressure. And now Kabum have a single point of focus they really need to look at. And this is the top turret. It's the last one out there. See, they could have backed off. Here goes Minerva. Just kind of... Yeah, it's bad individual plays. They just needed to run and say, oops, Danagorn. Alliance, what they can do right now is really not that much. It's the same thing they should have been doing from the start. Fizz needs to be on his own. He has to go split push. He's got good kills. He's got a Lichbane and a needlessly large rod. He can take anyone 1v1, so he has to force that. He needs to just continually draw this game out. He needs to keep Kabum on the back foot instead of being on the back foot. Alliance get their first turret, and this is about 5 minutes late. Back 15:45, Fizz was pushing bottom. Could have had that turret. Could have had his team some gold. Team fights might have turned out differently. Defense might have turned out differently. Instead, now they finally get the turret. 5k behind, we see Kabum grouped up as 5 again. As soon as they come back, they're not scared of these deaths. They know they got the objective. They know they're in the lead. They realize they're getting beaten team fights, but they don't care. They recognize what their team comp is supposed to do, and they're doing it. This is a big key and something that comes out throughout all of Worlds. Teams are building team comps and then not playing them wrong. It falters once, it falters twice, and they just kind of give up on what their team is supposed to do. Not so Kabum. This is like the third time that they got wiped. Well, not wiped. Well, they lost a team fight after taking an objective. But what do? They come right back. You know, this time they're being a little more safe. It's like, okay, Morgana got hit. They're coming back in. Let's back up, find our creep wave. So, but look at all the wards they got down. This is huge. They've got littered Alliance's jungle. Alliance can't see to their red, can see the red buff, but can't see past it. Kabum have complete vision control on Baron, and it's really scary for anyone on Alliance to go out, because if one person catches them, another person's going to catch them, another person's going to catch them. Alliance may have a pick potential, they want to get the one-on-ones, but Kabum have catch potential. One person gets caught, that's it for them. So it's a different style of sort of the kill one person. Once again, I really wish Fizz was just pushing bottom or something, buying a couple wards. They go in, Alliance try real hard because they know Minerva's at the bottom. Unfortunately, Fizz is not able to kill Morgana, not quite enough damage against Black Shield, and they turn it around. Fizz he jumped in ahead of his team. There was Froggenit's really trying to make plays, but it's backfiring. He's trying too hard. He's not waiting for his team to be in position. He almost got in and got out. This is beautiful by Timons. It's totally unexpected, beautiful play, in, out, on with life. Auto attacks weaved in between dashes. See, here we see Fizz. He tries to go in, but he gets locked up so many times. You saw he goes in against Minerva, but he gets locked up by Rise. Minerva backs off. You get more lockup. He can't use his mobility. He just gets so denied when he goes in, and he's the only one in the front line. With Kale dead, there was no intervention to sort of make him the pseudo tank to be able to take all that CC and then get his mobility going. And as the only person jumping in, Kha'Zix didn't go with him. Just ended up dying. Just gets locked down. Kabum were able to take the mid turret, mid inhibitor after that, and now things are really looking bad for Alliance. The reason that Kabum were so easily able to do that is as soon as they took Wicked down, they knew there was no intervention. There was no protection for Fizz, there was no protection for Kha'Zix, and they had the team to siege. So they siege the turret. When Fizz goes to make the play, they just shut him down. They deny him his ability to even move and clear it out. They know there's, like as repeated before, they know there's not much for them to do. Looking at items real quick, we have some good stuff we'll point out. We have an Aegis on Elise. Love to see this. This is something we didn't get to see very much in group stages. For some reason, teams were just not picking it up. Aegis is extremely good against Kale, against Fizz. It provides just what's needed for the team to survive. We also have Mikhails coming out of Morgana. They planned who was getting what. And Mikhails stops Thresh. The one thing on Alliance's team that can pick somebody out. Say Jinx is out of position, gets Thresh hooked, then you get Mikhail's Crucible. You save yourself an entire team fight like that. Ahri picking up Deathfire's Grass is really good in this situation because they don't need the wave clear power of Deathcap. They don't need the sustained damage that it would also bring. They need that burst kill. They get the CC, they kill him. The point is that person dies. Deathfire Grass in this situation is not about going out and assassinating. It's about getting that catch and getting that guaranteed kill. Kabum take Baron. As I pointed out before, with all the wards, they had completely denied Alliance vision. After they took middle, they just had a free opportunity to go and take Baron while Alliance defend mid lane from super creeps. Very easy pickup. Very easy free Baron. So now as they siege, they just need to do the same thing again. Throw out one skill shot at a time. Don't throw out more than one. Morgana is pretty much the best person to throw them out because she has the quickest cooldown and probably the hardest one to hit. Here we see the Mikhails was not needed. There was a heal. Nice safety. Could have been saved here for Ahri on the Thresh hook. Everybody does get out. It's very well. It was great initiation by Twitch, and that's what Alliance need to do. They have to have Twitch initiate. They can't use physical initiation. They have to throw tabs in there on Twitch, get the intervention, and let him soak up CCs. Because even if he gets CC'd, he doesn't take the damage. He can try and hold off on his ultimate, maybe play some tricky timing games. He can certainly dodge Cocoon and Charm, which are the only CCs that are going to stop him. And he can soak up snares while still doing his damage. See, the big problem with Fizz initiating is that he gets snared and his damage is stopped. His mobility is stopped. But Twitch is a turret. If they send Twitch in stealth and just let Kabum throw everything they have at him, at least he'll be able to do damage while soaking snares. And this will allow Fizz to go in and have a little bit more free roam and a little bit less worry. Kabum got the top turret, they took another objective, now they're moving to Dragon. They're constantly moving as 5, and they're not stopping. They're never stopping as 5. They're always going after the objectives. They're never looking for kills. The only kills they get are at turrets, right after them with catches. But they're not hunting. Ryze isn't bothering to split push. Ahri's not bothering to go look through the jungle. They know their purpose is 5 siege, especially against Alliance's comp, and they're doing it without fail. We see Minerva has learned his lesson. He's keeping up his rockets now instead of mini-gunning objectives because of the dangerous situation it's put him in before. And now we see Kabum taking the mid inhibitor. I do kind of like the Aegis on Thresh. It also could have been a Mikhail's. I think the problem with Mikhail's is that there's so much to dodge that one may not be enough. Whereas the Aegis provides resistance against 4 people on Kabum's team. So, little bit of a decision on what you think you should pick up, but not a bad takeaway instead of Mikhail's. We do see a Hex Drinker on Jinx, which I love, because it's just enough shielding to stop Fizz from one-shotting her. And we've seen it happen earlier, and it's happened now. Here we see Kabum's pressuring, and they're throwing out a bit too many skill shots. They're really trying to use their pressure ability to get kills, and they shouldn't. They've done a lot to the tower, which is good, but they have taken a lot of damage in return, primarily due to Twitch Rat-a-tat. It was well used by Alliance to chase Kabum off, get them low. They do return, they're still sticking around. They're behind, which is a problem. They're behind in HP, because it does mean Alliance have the ability to fight. And here we see Fizz going in. Watch Chompers right on top of Zhonya's. Stops Fizz. Just barely gets away. And here we see Jinx. She's going a little too aggressive. She had her flash. If she had flashed the hook, she could have flashed towards Twitch and then killed him and then come back around. Problem was, she went forward when Fizz was behind her. Anyways, they should have just backed off and let it go. Now we see Alliance chasing, and here we see Froggen. He shows how he can outplay people with this Fizz, and he's dodging all these CCs and gets in, gets kills, gets out, and they keep going. Alliance have the great individual skill, and we see what their purpose was and how well they can play it. It's just not mattering. Kabum take mid. Essentially, Kabum just took mid inhibitor and top turret. Well, Alliance got 3 or 4 kills. One. So once again, Kabum get the objective, even though Alliance win the fight. And here it's so huge because Kabum is always the ones pushing, always the one creating the pressure, that they essentially have 4 or 5 lost fights in them. Alliance have to take all the turrets, all the objectives to even really put pressure onto Kabum. So if Kabum keep the fight at Alliance's base, then that's all that they need to do. It won't be until death timers hit 75, 80 seconds that Alliance will be able to put pressure onto Kabum's base in a single fight. So if they just keep pushing, keep sticking into Alliance base, they have a huge margin of error. And since they're ahead, that even makes the margin of error higher. Now with the mid inhibitor down, they start clearing out Baron. We have the Baron dance. It's really smart to do. Kabum have all the potential and power in this situation. Like I said before, one catch leads to another CC, to another, and they just pile on enough damage during that time to kill it. This time around, Alliance are here to fight for this, and it makes it very dangerous for Kabum. They see Twitch, and they block him off. with CCs. They back out. They probably could have finished this off, but they do back out and try and get the kill. I want to say a good intervention. It saves Tab's life, but he could have prevented all that damage. So the intervention was late, but it did save Tabs. Once again, we see Twitch starting the fight and Alliance coming out ahead. Twitch needs to be the initiation for this team. He has to be the one. It can't be Froggen. It's sort of like Twitch has to go in and be a sacrificial lamb. Excuse me while I take a drink of water. So now as Kabum just set up their normal siege, they plan their items, they prep for Baron and whatnot. We've seen what they need to do to win, and what they have been doing, and they've done it. Constant pressure, going for objectives, not kills. They're not trying to beat Alliance individually, they're trying to beat them as a team. And it's worked. So what would Alliance have needed to do in this situation? What could they have done? The big point here is Fizz needed to stop trying to initiate. He needed to stop going for the in and outs. There was no way he can do the in and outs against this team. They had to rely on Twitch. This was good. If the rest of his team had been in position, Twitch could have opened up, got the intervention, Fizz could have been there for the kills. It was very close. Just not quite enough. Little bit of maybe like 1 second, 2 seconds away. So nice try. What they needed to do, but not quite. Here they go again, but Fizz opens up, right? And Fizz opens up and he has his Zhonya's. He uses Zhonya's intervention. They overlap. Just bad communication. It's really too hard for KL to be able to pick out Fizz as the target without pre-planned communication, because he doesn't know when he's going to Zhonya's. Even if they hadn't overlapped, Zhonya's would have dropped into Chompers, which means he then gets interventioned, which means he sits there during the snare, and they just wait to recycle their CCs on them. If Fizz had waited, let Twitch open up with Rat-a-tat-tat and get the intervention, then Fizz can come in as the secondary person to sow chaos. Twitch soaks, Fizz creates chaos. Outside of these team fight misengages, to say, Alliance really could have just left Fizz off on his own. Let Fizz split push bottom. Constant split push. Force Kabum to bring somebody out there. Let Alliance outplay Kabum individually. Split them up as much as possible. Fizz could have taken on Ryze, could have taken on Ahri, could have taken on anyone all by himself, potentially drawing 2 people, which then allows Alliance to 4v3 and have much better fights. Intervention becomes stronger as it blocks more CC. Alliance just really didn't play their team comp properly, and either way they needed to win. Twitch flanks or engages with Kale, and Fizz split push. Like I said, Fizz split pushing could have drawn out the game, would have got him one-on-one kills, would have made the rest of the Alliance team have an easier time, would have got turrets that would allow for more global gold, which would stop this lead from being so big. There were just options for them to do, and they didn't take them. When Fizz goes in the previous fight, we see Kabum go back, they take the mid inhibitor, the top inhibitor, and they back off, and Alliance do make a good play. Alliance rush Baron, and they get it, and they get out, which is actually a little bit more amazing. Kabum probably thought they were safe. They could have backed off from the top inhibitor and probably nuked down Baron. It would have been a bit risky as Fizz was coming back up, but doable. And then they could have just backed off from there. They could have started Baron, used their wards to spot out when Alliance was coming, backed out, played the Baron dance a little bit, wait for the creep waves of super minions in the top and mid to force Alliance back, and then taking the Baron themselves. However, they back, they think they're safe. Alliance make a great play and get it. Go in and get it. Alliance do burn every flash except for Fizz to get out, though. Kabum know this. They know they're stronger. They know they have 2 inhibitors down. They don't care that Alliance has Baron. They group as 5 and do the right thing and push bottom. So almost any time that you have 2 inhibitors down, all you need to do is push a 3rd lane and you win. Doesn't matter if the team's ahead, if they have Baron, you just need to push and wait. See, Ari gets a pick, bam, intervention's down, Kabum back off. They have no reason to. See, they sat at this turret long enough with 2 or 3 waves that they got that one catch. Got followed up, forced out the protection. Super minions are in the top pushing in. Now Kabum force a fight. They know intervention's gone. They get another catch onto Twitch and they just go for it. Alliance make a great fight actually. You know, they trade 2 for 3, but Kabum now have a 3 on 2. And so again, Fizz goes in, he tries to stop. He had to look at the super minions, and that's essentially the game. So, through my long-winded talking, I hope I was at least entertaining. Let me go ahead and wrap things up. This match was, as said before, all about the team compositions and the in-game strategy. Kabum had a very solid team with a planned purpose. They knew exactly what they were doing with their team and exactly what they wanted to do, and they did it. They pulled out a heavy catch, heavy siege composition, and they just grouped as 5 and kept going. Once the 15, 16, 17 minute mark hit after the 3 outer turrets were down, you never saw Rice split push, you never saw Ari go look for assassinations. It was always push, 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 push. And Alliance couldn't stop it. They didn't have any long-range poke, they didn't have any real solid wave clear. Their engage was their squishies, and they didn't play Kill Twitch right. Alliance had Kill Twitch, and as we've seen from Korean teams who know how to play it, you have Twitch flank, you have him open up, you have him be the engagement. He soaks damage, he would soak the snares while still being able to use his turret-like ability. Fizz could then follow up, soak chaos, and then allow Kha'Zix to come in for cleanup duty. The other alternate was for Fizz to say, sorry team, I have to let you go, and go out and push, because Fizz was almost useless. I can't say he was almost useless. Froggen got the kills, he got what he needed, he really kind of precipitated as many fights as he lost for his team. Had Kabum been better players, this would have only made Fizz look worse. He really had to say, goodbye team, go split push. He's the strongest 1v1er in the entire game, and he could have drawn the game out, forced down objectives on the other side of the map, and just split Kabum apart. Instead, Alliance played into Kabum's team rather than playing their own team. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. That is my first practice run for my Worlds video analysis coverage. My website will be in the notes. You can go look at it and see all of the notes I have taken. Look at them, read through them. They're mostly going to be used for me in my analysis, but you're welcome to enjoy them. And I will be posting all my videos up there on the portal page as I do them. Thank you for listening to my first test run of this, and I hope it was informative and enjoyable. Have a great day.